The reason why you're not manifesting your dreams is because you're not mastering your psychology.
And I'm driving home from my summer job, and I had this like electrical hit, and I almost had to pull the car over the side of the road. And I didn't have the words for it back then, but now I'd call it a download or a vision. And it revealed to me, it pulled back the curtain and said what I'm going to do in this life is our thoughts are electrical. And that can be measured now through all this instrumentation. So your thoughts, with the observer effect, go out and collapse a wave of pure potentiality and turn it into a particle.
Right.
And we break it down to these three measurable components of what's your thought life? How are you thinking? Most of us we have an average of 70,000 thoughts a day. 94 to 97% of them are repeated, recycled thoughts, which means 3 to 5% of our awareness is conscious. So that's not much. That's a pretty small aperture.
Yeah, small fraction.
That's right. That's right. So this is where I think meditation can be a wonderful component because it allows that aperture to grow by increasing your awareness. And then once you do that, then you level up. And what does that mean to level up? That means your awareness has leveled up. Inspiring and empowering part is if it's true that we live in a holographic universe and we're fractals of the larger whole, then by us working on us and raising our vibration, that is how we collectively contribute to the whole.
Hey everyone, Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge. I'm here with Dr. Alex Bloom. The reason why you're not manifesting your dreams is because you're not mastering your psychology. And today we're going to dive deep into this topic with Dr. Alex Bloom. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
It's an honor to have you. I just kind of manifested you today.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We were talking with your good friend, Mr. Beltran, about implants and chips and what's going on in nanotechnology and RF and everything else. And then you came here with him, and I was getting ready to start another podcast by myself to talk about psychology. And turns out that's what you specialize in.
That's correct.
Yeah. Can you tell everyone a little bit about your background and what you do?
Absolutely. So why don't we kind of start at the beginning? I was 19 years old, just average kid, always loved, been on my spiritual path quite early. And I had an experience one summer. I just finished freshman year of college, and I'm driving home from my summer job, and I had this like electrical hit, and I almost had to pull the car over the side of the road. And I didn't have the words for it back then, but now I'd call it a download or a vision. And it revealed to me, it pulled back the curtain and said what I'm going to do in this life. And it said, you're going to be a clinical psychologist. It was like a video clip that showed me my future. And you're going to be married to your soulmate. You're going to run spiritual retreats all over the world, run a holistic clinic, and write lots of books.
Amazing. I love it. I love it already, man. I love it.
So it reminded me of The Matrix when he said, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Just download it. And I never looked back.
Yeah.
Cleared a major, and the rest is history.
Amazing. I know off camera we talked about the fact that you really took a lot of years to dive deep into this knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Let's do it. Yeah. So now fast forward 2006. Do you remember the documentary The Secret? When that came out?
Absolutely.
Took the world by storm.
Bob Proctor, Michael Beckwith.
That's right. That's right. And I learned something in there that I thought was quite interesting, that our thoughts are things and they contribute to us creating a reality. And that you have to have emotion involved with it as well. Neville Goddard talked a lot about that. And then you have to take inspired action.
Yes.
So those were the three components for manifesting. So I thought, well, I'll experiment with this. And lo and behold, I used that to get into graduate school.
Nice.
And I applied to one program, one doctoral program on top of that, not just a master's program. And I got accepted, which is pretty rare to do in this field.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in class that fall, and I'm learning about cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which is considered to be like the gold standard of therapy.
Yeah.
And a slide comes up, and it's showing this triangle of psychology. And it says cognitions, behaviors, and feelings. And it was just a light bulb that clicked for me. And I'm like, okay, so if this is your psychology, and what I'm learning from The Secret were those same three components, then where are the books that are written of how to use your psychology to master manifesting? And I couldn't find anything. The only thing that came close was Wayne Dyer's The Power of Intention.
Yes.
So I made it my mission then for what ended up taking the next 17 years to then summarize what is psychology. And I've read thousands of books. When I was a university professor, I would read academic journals ad nauseum. All the librarians knew me by my name because I was requesting, all this material. And I feel as though I've cracked the code.
Wow.
Of what is psychology.
That is amazing. So 17 years of deep, intensive research. That is so powerful. Through this process, are you able to connect anything with quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and spirituality, or the ability to manifest?
This is where I think a lot of Joe Dispenza's work comes in. So a lot of what he describes is our thoughts are electrical, and that can be measured now through all this instrumentation. So your thoughts with the observer effect go out and collapse a wave of pure potentiality and turn it into a particle. And as of the fall of 2022, there are quantum physicists who have won the Nobel Prize for kind of proving that this is a legitimate course of what occurs. But that's step one. Step two is once you have the particle, it's out there. How do you magnetically draw that into your life experience? Through the form of synchronicities and coincidences and whatnot, like today. And that takes emotion. So you have to feel it real. And then from there, when that happens, then you have to strike while the iron's hot and take inspired action. So those are the three components. So then when you map on, how do I master those areas? And you turn to psychology to do that, then you can create like a map to help get there. And so it becomes a step-by-step process. And so what I've discovered is that there are 15 teachable skills that you can learn. And this is what all the science shows anyway, except it's couched in terms of improving your mental health. And I say, well, that's accurate, but limited. Let's go beyond that. These aren't just therapy skills. These are life skills that we can all use to improve.
We can apply them and change our lives.
Absolutely. Very practical ways. So then I took these 15 components. I thought, well, how am I going to organize them in a way that makes sense? And so I was playing around with a couple different metaphors. And then I thought, well, look at the periodic table of elements, kind of similar to what you have here, right? And I thought, okay, well, there's themes, there's categories to these skills. So I've clumped them into 5 themes. And if you know about an average of 3 skills per theme, and you know these 5 themes, then you can essentially master your day-to-day psychology. Now, why does that matter? Yes, it improves your inner game. But now we know with the bridge with quantum physics and everything going on with merging metaphysics and law of attraction and things along those lines with what quantum physics is now saying, that it maps on quite well. And so then this became my mission of like, okay, how do I spread this, And so I use this with thousands of clients for their mental health, but seeing improvements beyond that. Used it on myself, making my life my laboratory. Use it with friends and colleagues, and the list just goes on. And so now I'm excited to kind of share it broadly than that.
I love it. I love it. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, right? So we have to live that life, the same life that we're talking about. We have to walk that.
That's right.
And that's phenomenal, because just my short conversations with you already, I see that you're already walking that life, just in terms of the places that you've been and the things you've been able to see and witness, and also the ability that you've had to be successful in an area where, to be honest with you, I mean, there are a lot of people out there doing counseling and things like that. But to get to the level that you are, professional level teaching, and I can tell by the way you're speaking that you're a great teacher, because you can break things down and explain them, And I'm glad to be able to have someone like you with your credentials on this podcast to talk about the topics that I talk about a lot, because to me, sometimes a second voice is needed. They've heard my voice a lot. A second voice with credentials kind of to back it up might reinforce some of these understandings and concepts in other people where they might be slightly maybe doubting a little bit. I think one of the biggest things I heard you say, and I have this formula that I came up with, CT multiplied by A equals M. Conscious thought multiplied by action equals manifestation. And I saw you talk about the implied action a few times here. Let's talk about that process a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way I break it down in the course is I say that there's forced action and inspired action. And you see a lot in like the coaching space or the self-help space, take massive action, the importance of just action. And I believe action's important, but we have other variables that we need to keep in mind in the formula. You know, so it's really all, so I have somewhat of a similar formula that I use, and it's your psychology minus resistance equals manifestation.
I love it.
So your psychology is, again, those three areas that we spoke about.
Yeah.
So when you collectively add those together, minus the resistance that you're putting out in your vibration, right? And what is vibration? Well, we now know through Heart Math Institute, heart coherence, we have a measurable bioelectric field around our body that's reliably measured and whatnot. It can go further out than just the average 6 feet when we get into a state of coherence. And this is where a lot of Joe's material comes in terms of what happens when you get a whole body of people into a room. You can amplify that carrier wave. You know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think one of the things that I liked so far was the fact you said mastering your psychology, right? Let's dig a little deeper into that. When you say master your psychology, exactly what are you saying when you say that to someone?
It means take a hold of the inner game. So if we go by the definition that, again, what does psychology mean, right? It's such an abstract word.
Right.
And we break it down to these three measurable components of what's your thought life? How are you thinking? Most of us we have an average of 70,000 thoughts a day. 94 to 97% of them are repeated, recycled thoughts, which means 3 to 5% of our awareness is conscious. So that's not much. That's a pretty small aperture.
Yeah, small fraction.
That's right. That's right. So this is where I think meditation can be a wonderful component because it allows that aperture to grow by increasing your awareness. And then when you're using curiosity and being exposed to these ideas, your awareness is further expanding. And what's another word for awareness? Consciousness.
Consciousness, that's right. Yeah.
So the metaphor that I use is I think about all of us being born into this floor of a building. And this floor is like a chessboard. Okay. And we're all pawns in this chess game. We're unconscious. We're reactive. We're living from our wounds, our family traumas, you know, whatever things happen to us is then how we quickly respond. And that's then dubbed the third dimension, right? Duality consciousness. And then eventually something happens where we hear a noise or we happen to look up for the first time and we wonder, are there other floors? Is this the only floor to the game? Right? And so that curiosity then becomes essential. Then soon afterwards, there is a situation that's presented to us in our life. And I referenced that type of experience as a ladder. So a ladder might be having wonderful conversations, listening to an enlightening podcast, plant medicine, meditation, therapy, coaching, et cetera, et cetera. And these ladders then help us get to the next floor. Once we're on that next floor, the properties of this floor are different because we look down and the floor is actually made of glass. So now we can look down at the floor below and we're seeing the chessboard for the first time from a different vantage point. And we're saying, oh my gosh, there's me when I'm reactionary. There's my neighbor and my coworker and my brother, etc. And they're all still on the chessboard. Yet I'm here being able to now look at that floor instead of just coming from it. That's the first step. That's the first step.
So instead of being your thoughts, you're the observer of your thoughts.
There we are. There we are. And isn't that what's been said for thousands of years in the spiritual community? Right?
Absolutely.
And now we know with like mindfulness meditation, which is a lot of my academic background, that we see real changes that happen in the brain when we practice this skill. We get into observer or witness consciousness, as many times it's called. And so now we're looking down, but the properties of this fourth floor are different than the third floor because it's not as tall. So we're kind of crouched down. It's uncomfortable. We're seeing other people who might also be waking up and seeing what we're seeing. So we're giving them high fives. You know, as I say, they might be part of our cosmic clan. You know, we can see them as our vibe tribe and we're like, wow, they get it. They see it. Whether if it's politics or the medical community and all the things that, you know, are now proving to be untrue. The list goes on, right? It's endless. So as we do that, our first reaction is we're going to get angry because we're going to feel duped. I know I've been. Yeah. I'm sure you've probably felt the same way.
Oh, yeah.
And so when that happens, when we're angry, are we coming from our head or our heart in those moments? And as we're reflecting on the floor below, are we also coming from our head or our heart?
Yeah.
We're coming from our head still, because we're just now waking up and realizing there's more to this life experience than where 90+% of the people live.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we know that we're coming from our head, there's still room for growth. And so as we continue on this process and we continue to awaken, there are more ladders that come into our experience. And the ultimate ladder then takes us to that next floor, which is now the 5th floor, or what we would call 5th dimensional consciousness. And there's different properties on this floor as well.
Yeah.
Here we make the 18-inch journey from our head down to our heart. Now we're coming from this place of love, this place of unity, this place of connection with what it is that we wish to manifest.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, you know, because once we're there, there's no there anymore to get to. We're already at the destination.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And getting to that position, moving into the heart chakra, moving into that brain-heart coherence frequency allows us to be in a collaboration over competition mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the competition is the 3rd dimensional.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Scarcity consciousness. Yeah. I have to compete with someone. They're my enemy. When ultimately we're all on the same planet as humans.
That's right.
Know? It's a consciousness game.
And abundance is infinite.
Yeah. That's right.
We've been fooled and tricked into believing that there's this lack of abundance, that some way the universe is limited, we're limited. You know, even scientists or astrophysicists in some documentaries have said that the universe is going to die one day, you know, and it's going to run out of energy and everything's going to go dark, you know, so that we've been programmed so much into believing that there's always an end and there's not enough of anything.
Yeah.
And because we do live in a consumatory consumption type of a universe where one thing has to devour something else to live, we also see that. So it also kind of goes into our subconscious and we think, well, yeah, we do have to consume something. So I think we go into this competition mode.
Absolutely.
And I think if you add the competition mindset with the fight or flight mindset, which we're all stuck in, like, you know, that's a bad combination.
It's a very bad combination.
Yeah.
And let's add one more variable here, which is going to be family conditioning.
Ooh.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Right. So if we go back, what are they saying? The intergenerational trauma can biologically go back 8 generations. You know, we see certainly that from like lab rats and whatnot. So you take that and the conditioning of what's been taught over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And most of our programs happen by the age of about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So what we see growing up gets set like a jello mold, as I describe it, and that becomes our subconscious mind by default until we change the code.
Right.
Right. And that's where the psychology comes in. See? But by default, we're running from the script. And that's the 3rd dimensional consciousness, where all of us as the NPCs, as you mentioned, you know, that we live from.
Right.
And so this is your ability to take your power back is when you can master your psychology.
Yeah.
When you can learn these teachable skills in very pragmatic ways to say, okay, I think I'm understanding myself more. And that's what I mean by mastering psychology.
Yeah. Really bringing awareness to yourself.
That's exactly right.
That's the key.
It's important.
Yeah. What ways have you seen that have been beneficial for you to reprogram your subconscious?
Well, I think it all starts with curiosity. That's the golden thread. That's what allows the door to open.
Yeah.
Moving into a theta brainwave state is another way that the door opens for us to reprogram what's there. When we look at our belief systems, how I describe beliefs, there's cognitive therapy describes our thought life as 3 different layers. It's kind of like an onion. So the outermost layer is what they call automatic thoughts. So that's where most of our running commentary goes on. If we were to say, okay, stop for a minute, like, what are you thinking? Those are going to be your automatic thoughts.
Yeah.
Then the layer underneath there is called formally maladaptive assumptions, which means like the hidden rules that we live from. They usually show up as if-then statements.
Yeah.
So those rules then are how we organize those automatic thoughts. And then at the root of it is then what they call core beliefs.
Yes.
And so these core beliefs, my metaphor for the core beliefs is like a rubber band ball. So when you look at a belief, like what is a belief? Like let's take Abraham Hicks, right? What do they say a belief is? A thought that you keep thinking over and over. So if you have a rubber band ball, what's it made of? Rubber bands.
Rubber bands.
Right?
Yeah.
So the rubber band, each time you think that thought, that's like a rubber band being added to the ball. And we have however many beliefs that we have,
Yeah.
you know, subconsciously, all
growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some are going to be bigger than others.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't even ours,
Yeah.
right?
That's
That
the
we
crazy
picked up,
part.
Yeah. And there's two things that forms a belief, repetition and emotion. So how do we reprogram the subconscious mind? It's the same formula.
Yeah.
You pick the thought that you want to turn into a belief, and then it's through repetition and emotion. But there's a gentleness, there's an art to this. And this is where I call it a belief ladder. Because let's say you came from a scarcity mindset and you want to develop a wealth mindset, and you say, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy. Well, there's actually research showing that that can be harmful for you if it's outside of your system of acknowledgement to some degree.
Yeah.
So like, let's say I'm thin, and you're not,
Right.
right? You're going to know like, this is BS, right? I don't believe this.
Yeah. Somehow it didn't work out.
Yeah. So it's going to backfire and it can make things worse.
Yeah.
So we got to kind of break it down into subcomponents. And that's where I use the analogy of a ladder. So let's say you want to build a wealth consciousness. Maybe you take one of your programs or whatnot and you say, wow, I really want to get that kind of mindset, but I'm not there yet. If they push too hard, again, it can backfire. Yeah. So break it down. You know, every day I'm taking a step closer to be there. I'm looking at, wow, I'm seeing more and more of my resistance that's coming up. Maybe I listen to an affirmation that resonates with me more, that it's not fully there yet. Well, each time you do that, you're building a rung that you're then constructing to get to the ultimate end goal. And then in the process, you're building new rubber band balls.
I love it. I love it. That's powerful. And that's why in my Forbidden Knowledge Online Academy, I take them step by step by step, very small baby steps. Because like you said, if you go to the top of the mountain immediately,
that's it.
Then you're going to fall off the mountain.
Yeah.
So you have to lead them up very slowly and give them a chance to begin the reprogramming process.
That's right.
And learn a little bit along the way and achieve a little bit along the way and celebrate those achievements too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. They're like pit stops.
Yes.
So as you move along the map, you have nodal points that you stop.
Yeah.
You're able to celebrate that win. That allows the emotion to kind of download further, and that's the glue for the rubber band ball. Yeah. Right. And then you fill up and you say, okay, I got my team, high five, I'm making progress. And then you keep going. Yeah. You know? Yeah, absolutely. Incredible. Yeah. Did you teach this to your students in college? You know, I did indirectly. Okay. Yeah. So, I was teaching to master's and doctoral level students, and you know, there's particular themes when you teach a course of what you can do, and there's only kind of how much you can deviate. But I tried to kind of subtly say, you're going to be therapists one day. Let's talk about more than this X subject that we're teaching. Gotcha. To kind of give you a bigger picture. Because I wish I would have had that at the beginning. And I view as though this model could be used in multiple disciplines. It could be used for manifesting. It could be a potentially new model that's taught in graduate schools, so that therapists from the start have a skill set that they can use from a bigger picture. Because all these skills are steeped in the research in terms of evidence-based treatments that people use for therapy. Exactly. I'm just arguing it can be used beyond that. Right. It can, yeah. Why do you think a lot of it is not taught, or they don't want it to be utilized for more things? Well, when we think about, let's say, quantum physics, and when that was beginning, what did some of the visionaries at that time say? And they said, in order for this to fully be supplanted, you kind of have to have the dinosaurs die off, right, for the next generation to kind of come on. So, for example, there's a new discipline within the therapy movement called positive psychology. And what that's saying is, here's my metaphor. If you're a client, I'm the doctor, and you come in, you say, I'm really struggling with panic attacks. I've got a lot of anxiety, or I've got anger issues, or whatever it is. I say, okay, you're at like a -10, like you're really bad off. I'm going to try to get you to a 0. Okay. So that's symptom reduction. Let's go from a -10 to a 0. Yeah. What positive psychology says, okay, if I get you to a 0, that's improvement. But with the Western medical model that we all kind of live under in this westernized society, is that really health? Or is that only the absence of symptoms? Right. Yeah. Right. So what about 0 to +10? What about that whole world? Yeah. And that's where this positive psychology movement comes in to say, okay, let's explore those ideas. And here's the best part. You can use those while you're still struggling. Yeah. So an applied example of that is they're reframing post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, to what's called post-traumatic growth. Yeah. of how can you be looking at this trauma in a way where there could be some things that have allowed you to become a more broader person, right? That you've used this to your advantage in some indirect ways, perhaps.
Right.
To empower the individual.
Exactly. Empowerment. And that's what I went to Dr. Daniel Amen for a SPECT scan of my brain, because I had a brain injury from a car accident years and years ago. And I think it was 1991. And he noticed I was having a problem with my navigation ability, remembering where I was and where I was going. I would get lost in this house, actually. This house, when I first moved in, I'd get lost in here. So I went to him, and he put me on this brain regimen, brain supplement regimen, and some exercise regimen to activate left hemisphere, right hemisphere of the brain. And but during the brain scan reading, he read me like a book, and he saw my trauma pattern, my diamond trauma pattern on top of my head, my brain, through the SPECT scan. And he also recognized, just based on my story, that instead of developing PTSD, I developed what you said, PTG, post-traumatic growth, where I took all of those shortcomings, all that trauma, all that drama, and everything that I witnessed and saw as a child, and I used it to catapult myself out of that ghetto, out of abject poverty, into where I am right now. And so I've always wondered, what was it for me that allowed me to tap into PTG without any mentor, formal training, psychology? What do you think it is that some people move in the direction of PTG and some people move in the direction of victimhood?
Well, I don't want to speak for you. I think I know a little bit about your story once you moved from New York down here, and how you were in kind of survival mode. With needing to become an entrepreneur quite early on in childhood, right? And it was kind of this hustle mentality of survival. I need to have food on my table. I need to eat. What am I going to do with this money that I'm accruing? I don't want to just blow it on things. I need it for other purposes. So you were organizing your value system in that way. And that's one of, so the 15 skills that I teach, I format it in like a periodic table like structure.
Oh, wow.
And what I'm calling that is the hidden elements within, for two reasons. The first is these are the hidden elements that are within the most common recycled forms of therapy and self-growth ideas and things that are out there in the change field. But it's a double entendre, because these are also hidden elements that are inside of us, that when we learn these skills, we can have them grow and blossom. Now, sometimes that has to happen consciously, and sometimes that happens unconsciously. And I would wonder if that's what happened to you. That you were going through these situations and stressors that acted almost like, you ever squeezed a watermelon seed before? Right? And what happens, right? The more pressure you apply, the faster
far.
There you go. So that resistance, then you were able to use to your advantage. So with some sort of mindset or something, maybe from a spiritual perspective, who knows? This situation was part of what you had agreed upon in order for you to have it be a change agent in your life. There's some still X factors that we don't fully know. But regardless, look at where you are now.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
And most importantly, you can use this to teach others.
That's what I'm doing. I said, if growing up and seeing and witnessing that it didn't happen to everyone, and then I couldn't figure out why people couldn't see things the way I saw things. I made it my life dedication to say, I got to go back and teach. Because it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still learn these fundamental principles, and you can still get a result.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in like the Buddhist philosophy, they have like this concept like a bodhisattva, right? Someone who incarnates and comes back because they've been fully enlightened to come and teach. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that's what happened, but to some degree, who knows from a spiritual perspective, as a soul contract, this is part of what you had agreed to do in this incarnation. It feels like a mission. It feels like there is a mission that I have, and that I'm on. And I think, yourself included. I mean, that we're just on these passion missions. It's something to do this work. You have to be passionate about it. You do. Deeply.
Yes. It takes a lot of energy, effort. You took 17 years of research, right?
Nonstop. I didn't marry. I didn't have kids. I have a beautiful story about how I met my wife as part of this whole vision.
Oh, nice.
But, it was an insatiable, it's a calling, you know,
it is a calling. Yeah.
And it's hard to articulate into words unless you have that for you to understand what that is.
Yeah.
But I guess you could say sacrificed a lot, but I didn't feel like a sacrifice because it was the only logical thing I wanted to do, you know. And I'm in the process of writing a handful of novels, kind of spiritual novels.
Oh, nice.
And one of the metaphors I like to use is to think about, I was telling Jesse this, this incarnation as though you're in the Matrix, but you're playing a video game. Okay. So your higher self and my higher self are now playing Super Mario Brothers together. And I'm like, hey, all right, man, like I need you now. So come in, tag team. And then I need to come across this chasm, help me build this bridge.
Right.
And then through a series of coincidences, we meet. We're now playing the video game together for however long we do to get something accomplished.
Yeah.
And then at the end of every level, what do you face? You have a boss.
The boss. You gotta defeat the highest level.
There you go.
Yeah.
So how do you get to the higher level? You can't get to that level till you defeat that boss.
That's right.
So what is the boss of your level going to look like right now?
Yeah.
Is it something external? Is it something internal that you're facing a demon within yourself or what have you?
Yeah.
This is where your psychology can equip you.
Right.
Because once you understand, okay, what's the resistance? What's coming up inside of me? And then you have a framework to kind of orient yourself and some teachable skill sets that are based in science. So that's not for some people who are more left brain, complete metaphysical woo-woo that they might not buy into. Like this is all kind of sidestepped step by step to get there. Then you can say, okay, all right, I think I can face this boss now. And it's going to keep recycling till you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
And then once you do that, then you level up. And what does that mean to level up? That means your awareness has leveled up. And like we keep saying, what's another word for awareness?
Yeah.
Consciousness.
Consciousness. That's it.
And the ultimate goal, that's my argument, is for us to move more towards unity consciousness, is 5D.
Yeah.
And that's what I see that's happening on the planet.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like, based on I guess it's an experiment they did with apes, with the dirty sweet potatoes. And then one ape would go wash a sweet potato in a lake and then, a river. And then the other ape said, hey, we can wash this dirt off of our sweet potatoes in the river. And they all started washing off the sweet potatoes in the river. And then the next generation was washing off the sweet potatoes. But then apes in other enclosures not too far away, but not connected in some magical way, started washing their sweet potatoes in the river because the consciousness expanded.
Absolutely.
Right? It's this field.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they downloaded the knowledge on how to do this through quantum entanglement.
Absolutely.
And on Earth, with us as human beings, the same thing can happen and has happened. But now we've got to move back towards that mindset, that ascended master mindset, that Christ consciousness, so to speak.
That's right.
Where then when a certain number of us hit that, like you say, 5D, all of a sudden we're seeing from higher dimensions.
You've met the threshold.
Yes.
And a great example of that from a human perspective is, let's look at like DNA. When they were looking at what is the structure of DNA, let's try to create the theory of what that looks like. There were a handful of people that were all coming up with the same spiral concept on the planet at the same time. And it was just a race to who's going to do it first,
Yeah.
So there's a larger intelligence of something that we're tapping into.
Yeah.
Is it the Akashic field? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's something.
It's something there. Well, if you think that single one of our thoughts leaves our skull because we can capture them on the EEG, right?
That's right.
Into a computer.
Yeah.
So that means that they've gone past the bone. Somehow they're leaving because the EEG is not surgery.
Yeah.
It's just something that sits on top of your head and captures the waves.
Yeah.
And so in that case, if this is an energetic grid that we're inhabiting and it leaves in some way, every thought can be stored in this field. And then all of a sudden you have the Akashic Records or the Book of Life.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Thoughts don't die.
Yeah.
Electricity doesn't die.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
Yeah.
And I played around with the EEG devices when I was in undergrad working on research. And so what's the first E in EEG, right? It's the electro.
Yeah.
So they're capturing electricity, and there's a device called a squidometer that can measure kind of the amplitude of thought energy and whatnot.
Nice.
So there's a lot of very interesting things out there.
Yeah.
And I only see this kind of furthering this bridge between science and spirituality through quantum physics, and then what I hope to bring through an applied way with psychology.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, all this stuff is so incredible. And one thing I want to tap on before we wrap this up is I want to talk about, in science and quantum physics, they talk about everything exists in superposition. Potential future outcomes are existing all at once.
Yeah.
What method or understanding do you have on how to collapse that one reality, like how you manifested your wife, for example? How does that work?
Well, so again, this is where we can tap into spirituality as a blueprint or a template from what the ancients have been saying for a long time. And then we can now use science to kind of start mapping it out from a repeatable point of view, where you've got evidence that's accruing.
Gotcha.
So from that point of view, what we know is superposition is time as we know it is not linear.
No.
Right? There's so much more going on there than what we see as clock time. Right?
Yeah.
So this is where I think mindfulness and meditation in general kind of comes in, because everything in ultimate reality, if there is no time, then it's the ever present moment of now.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where we collapse time through fifth dimensional consciousness by saying there is no outside destination that I'm needing to get to from that consciousness level.
Right.
That whatever future desire I have, I want to embody it when? Now. It's here. It's present. And then when I think the thoughts from that vantage point, then that's the type of quality of thought specifically that then goes out and leaves.
I love it.
And then we have to feel as though it's already there. And so I'm creating what I'm calling a vibe map, where I'm breaking down emotions based on like their energetic level and their frequency, going up to like cosmic consciousness, but starting at like lowest vibration of emotion. And so you have like a map, you know, that lets you know, like, where am I in my current emotional state?
Yeah.
Where do I need to go from there? Maybe there's affirmations that can help you along the way, or other tools that you're learning like from the course to kind of help you as a ladder kind of move up wherever you are. We're all going to slip. We're all going to fall. We all banana peels.
Yeah.
So when we judge ourselves, does that make things better or worse?
Worse.
So it's not helpful. And there's a form of therapy called dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT. And I used to run groups kind of based on this form of therapy for over a decade.
Wow.
And there's a term that they use in there that I love, and I've made it kind of a part of my daily life consciousness. And the word that they use is effective. And this comes from Buddhist thought of skillful, like skillful action and whatnot that you might hear. And they interpret it as the word effective. And I love that word so much. So basically what they're saying is, remember the game they used to play as kids of hot and cold, right? Like you're getting warmer or cooler based on the destination. Okay. So when I'm closing the gap between the current version of me and the me that I want to be, where I'm proud of myself, I've accomplished things, I'm in my heart space and whatnot. If I'm moving in that direction, then I'm acting in an effective way.
Yeah.
And when I slip and I'm doing things and I go back to 3D and now I move in that other direction, is it good or bad or right or wrong? If I interpret it from that valence point of view, that's a 3D perspective of judging it.
Right.
Right. So if I view it as, oh, this isn't effective, it's not serving me to do that, then it's a more cleaner way for you to kind of turn around and move back in the direction that you want to go.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. This is powerful stuff. I'm going to ask you one. If you want, are you able to talk about how you met your wife?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
So, I had been made fun of by a lot of my friends for years because I dated here and there, almost got engaged once. And I knew that so much of the vision was coming to pass that I couldn't settle, basically.
Gotcha.
And so what essentially happened is, right when COVID was beginning, a friend of mine had reached out and said, oh, I had a dream about you last night. I said, oh, yeah, well, that's fun. So we were talking about it real briefly. And a couple of weeks later, she said, I can't get this dream out of my head. And the dream was me being a camp counselor at a conference with that type of theme.
Okay.
And I was talking about this material and whatnot. Yeah. And she said, if I were to put a conference together, granted, this was right when COVID was starting. Yeah. If I were to put a conference together, would you come and speak? Wow. And I said, CL, if you build it, they will come. And so she did, through all the hurdles and everything. And so they called it Camp Disclosure. Damn. And people came and talked about all these different concepts there. So that was how I got there. Now, my wife has lived she's British, but she's lived in Florida for 30 years. Wow. And she goes up to North Carolina, which is where this event happened, every summer for a couple months because she can work remote. So she had just come back from there. And she had seen an ad for this event, not knowing anybody in the circle of my friends that were all going to go to this, a couple hundred people. And she's like, for some reason, I have to go to this event, but it's sold out. So she said, you know what? I need to listen to my intuition. She's extremely intuitive. So she hops on a plane by faith, goes up to North Carolina, stays with her friends.
Wow.
And then what happened was she had a massage scheduled in the Pisgah Forest. And so she thought, wow, a massage in the forest. This sounds great. And come to find out, it was several hours away. And when she put it into GPS, it wasn't in the forest. It was the name of the apartment complex. So she kind of felt duped, but I'm going to go anyway. Well, sure enough, that was my friend Caroline. And they got to talking, and she said, well, I can't go to this event that I have scheduled and whatnot. And she's like, well, what event is it? So it was the Camp Disclosure event.
That's
so
wild.
She's like, that's how I got my ticket.
That's
So that's how she gets there.
Yeah.
And then we meet, and we're only hanging out for a couple days. And then she went back to Florida. I was in Portland at the time, where I'm from, Portland, Oregon. And we just kept in touch every day. And then she wanted to have this reunion from everybody from the event. And she wanted to do it over the astrological day of 12/12 in December. And now we lead retreats over 12/12.
Wow.
Where people can experience 5D for themselves.
Nice.
So I went down there and I hang out with her. We're having a good time. You don't know each other because it's only been a few days. So it's that kind of, do you really like me? Where do we stand? Kind of a feel. There's sexual tension there.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, I ended up staying longer, got an Airbnb, and I'm on the beach at siesta, and I'm wrestling with God.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you gave me this vision when I was 19. I'm desperately falling in love with this woman.
Yeah.
What do I do here? You need to guide me.
Right.
You know, I need some assistance here.
Yeah.
And so she had left the beach for a few minutes. She came back. She picked me up. And I'll never forget it. We were in the car, and all of a sudden I started crying. And not just crying, but like ugly crying. You know, where there's like snot coming out. Like, yeah. And she's like, what is going on? I said, I don't know. Just keep driving. We go back to the Airbnb, and she just leaves me there. And she's in the bedroom, and I'm just thinking to myself, what is happening right now? I have no idea. And then all of a sudden, you're wrestling. A few minutes later, she comes out. I'm like, oh no, I don't have an answer yet. And then I got that same feeling that I got when I was 19 with the vision.
Oh, wow.
And the message was, this is the woman from your vision.
Wow.
And so she came and she's like, well, do you have any insight for me? Like, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
And I said, oh my God, you're my soulmate. You're the woman from the vision.
Wow.
And I'll never forget what she said, because she said, I know. And I've been waiting for you to play catch up.
Man, I love it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And we've been inseparable ever since.
I love it.
And all that happened before even our first date.
Oh, man, that's incredible. Yeah, I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Wow, that's powerful.
So we're a tag team. She's really working on sound healing and wanting to help things in that way.
Man.
And we're both trying to spread the message of coming from our heart and using our psychology to improve our life and vibration in a variety of forms.
Yeah.
And do what we can to, add more light and consciousness to the planet.
You're doing it, man. You're doing it, brother.
Yeah.
You're doing it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Where can everyone find you online?
So the program is called 5DU.
Okay.
D for dimensional, of course. And U as in YOU. And so it's 5DU.com, and you can join the waiting list. The course will be revealed in about a month and a half or so. I'm really excited about it. And this is phase 1. And then phase 2 is then I want to turn the program into a larger ecosystem, and I'm calling it 5DU University.
Yeah.
And so then what I want to do is partner with other folks that feel as though they have a message and they want just a platform to be able to share that, perhaps similar to what you're doing with your academy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
we'd love the Forbidden Knowledge Academy to be part of your university.
Well, and that's what I want to do, because I've been hearing other people who are doing similar things, and wanting to build that sort of thing. We were talking earlier about like the larger consciousness of what's going on.
Yeah.
So now we need to create some sort of system where we can all communicate with one another, just like what they do in brick and mortar universities, right? Where they communicate or cross transfer, or you have, sports that play with one another. And
it's all interconnected.
So it
doesn't matter if you're in a physical brick building or online, because the energy, distance is an illusion, locality is an illusion. Yeah. Right? It's all energy.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the most inspiring and empowering part is if it's true that we live in a holographic universe and we're fractals of the larger whole, then by us working on us and raising our vibration, that is how we collectively contribute to the whole.
Absolutely. Yeah. You heard her here on Forbidden Knowledge TV and the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you follow this incredible doctor. His work is amazing. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Yeah. Justin, can you give me another watch? That was great, man.
Yeah, good.
You got the emerald green, emerald tablet green watch.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Appreciate it. I love your emerald tablet books and you know, everything you're putting together.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching this amazing video and podcast today. If you want to go deeper and learn more about incredible manifesting techniques, how to become the better version of yourself and change the paradigm on this planet, and join over 1,200 incredible leaders doing the same thing, and I will be your mentor. Make sure you click the link in the caption of this video or in my bio and join the Forbidden Knowledge Academy today. Watch this video for free at www.4bk.tv or download the app on your smartphone, Fire Stick app, Samsung TV, Roku, and other app providers.